welcome
to
Masters of Music Podcast. Yeah, baby. I'm Voldemort.
I am Derek.
And this is episode 22. Episode 22! Yeah, baby! Happy New Year! Let's get up! Let's put our in. Let's go and snort some. And I want to go, dude. I'm gonna go so hard on the. I'm gonna go put my in the. I can't wait to go to your mom's house. Oh, you can't wait till I'm gonna do with your mom. I'm gonna.
Oh, wait a minute. We can't do that. It's still quarantine. Well, hopefully 2021, things will lighten up and things will get better. And then we can do it.
Are you sure about that?
Yep. Please like and subscribe, guys.
Like and subscribe if you enjoy our content.
Yeah, and this episode was actually a thank you to everybody who's watched our episodes. This is the best of episode that has all of clips from everybody that we've interviewed. And hopefully we can get it done in one episode. I don't know if we will, but hopefully. Yes. But we would like to thank you guys for following us and liking us and watching our stuff. And please let us know how we can be better. Just tag us, share our stuff, and please subscribe.
Yes, yeah. Insult us. Just subscribe, please.
Yeah, insult us. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, look at Derek's hair.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, but we got to move on because we got to get to the best of 2020!
You play?
Yeah, I play guitar. I've been playing in bands. Derek and I played in a band before. We were actually signed together, and then he left the band to become a rock star. And then my band got dropped. But whatever, we'll talk about the sad stories later.
It's such a journey. I mean, music business and just being a musician it's such a journey, Are we still there?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, I've been at this a long time now, and you see such when I was a lad, when we first started off, it was all radio was king. It was before MTV and all that, and all you did was, there was no internet, there was none of this. All it was you get together with some like-minded people and try to write some songs and hopefully get some good ones, record them, and then maybe you get a record deal and get out there and hopefully get some record play and then get out and tour. I mean, it was fun. It was cool. But it was also, the opportunities these days are so much more, even though it's different, and it's not such a clear-cut way. But, anybody has that opportunity to get out there if you're willing to put in the time and work hard. It's pretty cool, really.
Yeah. Well, with that, do you think that's actually making it a little bit harder for someone to kind of branch out?
Well, that's the other thing is everybody's got that accessibility.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to it all, and I look at it all and thankfully, some people have struggled with making the adjustment to this time, especially if they came from that time. But there's we can romanticize about that time and how fun it was. And I was very fortunate. I had some big breaks and all that. And not a lot of people get that. And for a lot of people, you can find different ways to get your music and your creativity out there and hopefully make some money. But it doesn't take away from the fact you still have to be good. You still have to be talented at what you do. People ask me, I get a lot of people reaching out to me. Hey, I'm a young artist, blah, 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 just starting. Do you have any advice, any guidance? I said, well, find out what it is that you really love to do and then get really, really good at it. And then connect with people who do the same thing and just, get out there. At the end of the day, I think it's more important for people to be authentic and to be passionate about what they do and really, get and be so good at it that it's undeniable.
Right.
I mean, how do you stand out from all those people on the internet that have the same tools? You just be so good at it that it's undeniable.
Right.
Yeah, that's. I'm kind of in the place where I don't think making money with music is the thing I want to do anymore, but keep creating and putting out music is what I want to do. So like,
that is good. Yeah.
It just feels right. It feels like it. I don't want to deal with all of like the record labels or getting signed anymore. I just want to write, create, and then put it out, and then see what happens, and keep putting it out. Even if some people might like it, some people won't, but at least I will feel like I put out something and I've done what I can and the best I can do without somebody else censoring me and like telling me like, there's so much things going on. If you want to be a rock star, there's so many hoops you have to go through to be a rock star nowadays. But I think I can still be creative and like fulfill myself. I don't know if that's
I always get a little kind of when I hear people who want to be a rock star. I mean, people call me that and they say, "Oh, you're a legend," and I say, "No, I'm a legend." And so it's like, it's like there's this big misconception of what is a rock star. What is a rock star? Yeah. What do you think it is? What is somebody who's doesn't have to work anymore, who can just sit back and watch their royalties come in, and they live this kind of lifestyle that we all dream of. And most musicians, friends, and a few of them would be classified as rock stars. They're just very simple, down to earth people like you and me. Some of them aren't, don't get me wrong, but
we'll talk about them later.
But the ones that keep going are the ones that have that love and the passion for making music. I mean, it is the way that I earn my living, and it is that puts a different emphasis and a different pressure on it, if you like. So you have to get very resourceful and very creative and work hard. Wake up each morning thinking, hey, what can I do today to make a difference? And I'm very thankful because I'm able to be diverse. I can do educational stuff. I can be a rock star counselor and mentor at a rock and roll fancy camp. I can play gigs. I can do sessions. Yeah. I can do no end of stuff. And I'm writing books as well and write songs. It's like you have to do it all these days. And I do thrive and enjoy all that stuff. But boy, it's like you don't get a break. But that's all right.
Yeah,
I'm doing something that I enjoy doing.
Buckley. So. Actually met his mother, and that was like, I got a Jeff Buckley pick. It's my most prized guitar pick.
Oh my God.
I got to hang out with her, and she told me all kinds of stories. Here's a beautiful story about Jeff and Brazilian music that I think you'll drink up. Just like many of us, I'm sure like you and me, Jeff would sit around with his turntable, and he loved Brazilian music as well. And she said one day, and she was blown away that my name was Jeffrey Scott Young and his name was Jeffrey Scott Buckley. She even made me show her my ID. She was like, no way. But and I won't forget, I want to mention that the studio has the same board Queen. It's the Queen mixing board here, and I'll get back to that. But that's why I brought up Freddie Mercury. But Jeff's mom said he was working in his room one day on this Brazilian song, like over and over, just picking up the needle, going back, like we've been known to do, musicians.
Yeah.
And she's like, she got so fed up. She's like, I just got to go shopping or something. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
She said she came back and he was still playing that same album. She went, Jeff, can you change the song? And she goes, but when I walked in, it wasn't the album anymore. It was him.
Oh my God.
Learned the song that quick and was that,
immersed in it.
Already reflecting the song that she thought it was the album.
Wow.
That was a great story. She told me many. That was an amazing experience meeting her. But what I was mentioning about Freddie is
awesome. No one knows me.
Wait, how do you know?
Can I say you and your career, Derek?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like this is, I don't know. I'm trying I'm saying this in the nicest possible way, but it's kind of a jab at the same time.
I love those.
Your career, I can tell you, is being held back by the fact that you have a little bit of success already. And the way I say that, because everyone knows that you are you have been, maybe you aren't now. I don't know your personal business, but maybe you have been at one point contractually obligated to some form of record company or some management or something, right?
Right.
Everybody knows that, and they're avoiding you. They're like, if we could just get that guy Derek, we'd when we can make him sing our song, because we know our song's a hit, right? Everyone thinks their song's a hit, right? If we can get Derek, our record label, to sing our song, we'd have a success. We'd have a hit or a next hit album, right?
Right.
But he's already taken, so we can't. So you've lost a lot of business.
Right.
I can tell you, I've talked to 6 or 7 different people, and they've all said the same thing. That guy, if we could just get him, but we can't. So I can tell you, you've lost out on a lot of business, positive or negative. I don't know.
You're right.
Because of whatever you've already gotten yourself involved in. So I only hope whatever you're involved in is working for you, because you have a lot of other opportunities. Everyone wants to work with you. Everyone wants to show up. I know people who want to give you money. Wow. Already. I mean, you probably know this already. I'm probably not telling you anything new, so I'm really just letting cats out of bags here. But I wanted to tell you because I didn't know if you knew that, you know?
That's actually super awesome that you bring that up, because I mean that whole that is I do know that to an extent. I didn't know there were that many, but of course with every open door, a few, like 3 close, and there's always stuff like that, and it's, as of now, where I'm quite happy with what I'm doing right now. Awesome. But but that's
can we even talk about what you're doing right now? Is that
I think possible? We can, yeah.
Well, the fact that you're happy is the fact that you say you're satisfied and happy at the moment. I hope you're not just saying that and towing the party line. I hope you really mean that, because there's a lot of, I've seen you a million times. I believe in you. Everyone believes in you. Everyone feels the same way I do, right? I'm not being unique and saying I believe in you. Everyone believes in you, you know, and we're all hoping for the best for you, because you're like the one guy who could be the next big rock star in the world, you know? And so I don't know if that's what you are right now. I don't see you touring the entire world doing a stadium tour. But we all know that you could, you know?
Right.
And the fact that you're saying you're happy now makes me feel better, you know?
Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, there's always so much doubt and everything, and like the pandemic itself has slowed everything down, and like there were plans to go on tour this year, and they just kind of fell through.
Yeah.
So recording has been pushed and everything's been pushed, but I think just the path I'm on now, what we're doing now, my band is like writing with everybody from like The Darkness to Buck Cherry to like we're working with Steel Panther on Thursday, and so it's a lot of oh yeah, he took a snapshot.
We saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. I'm trying to like move my screen position of my actual screen is in front of your face. So I'm trying to like, how do I move it to the middle in between you guys? Because you guys are left and right. So I'm like trying to see your face, and I just want to see your pretty face. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't mean to take a screenshot. I'm sorry.
No, dude. Take as many screenshots as you want.
Yeah.
No, but this is what the podcast is about. This is what we want to get to. Like,
yeah, the business itself, as well as the creative side and every corner of it.
Yeah, it's like I was talking about this before. Like, Derek was actually in the band with me, and we got signed.
Yeah.
And it was cool. I consider it a success. No matter what happens, like being able to get signed, even though we got dropped. And Derek left the band after the first album, recording it.
Yeah.
But we met a lot of cool people, and we did a lot of cool things. But then once you actually get signed, you find out like how difficult or crazy, or like sometimes you can't even be a band if you want to, or like be true to yourself, because they start like you need a hit, go back, write more songs. Like there's so much different little things that people that want to be like musicians or whatever can learn from, like people like you and Derek. And like Derek has his things, and like maybe he lost a few offers because of the thing that he's doing now.
Yeah.
And then that's one thing that like to open people's minds up to, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. And then finding out stories like your story, like of where you're from. But you're from LA like us, right? I think?
Yeah.
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 Angelinos.
Yeah.
Get that Angelino card.
You know, can we talk about something you just hit on? Like what it takes to be a musician. Like success is, let's not talk about success.
Yeah.
Because that's like winning the lottery, right? But to be a musician that actually is worth something to yourself and to the couple people who like your music, you know, I think that both of you guys already know what the real secret is, but I just want to talk about it. And I kind of want to talk about the ugly side of it.
Oh yeah.
That's okay with
Yeah, of course.
Let's get ugly.
I think that like the reason like you see a band like any band that works, Rage Against the Machine, the Beatles, whoever, right, is because they found a group of guys that are like-minded, and that's great. But that's not even it. Like finding the group of guys that are like-minded is literally a once-in-a-generation thing, right? So that's the winning the lottery part of it.
Yeah.
Actually, the success beyond that is winning the lottery part of it too. It's all like winning the lottery. But before that, just as individuals with the right mindset, I think the right mindset is a really dark place. And everyone likes to think, oh, I just want to get in my comfort zone and make the music that I love, and we have got to be surrounded by the right vibe. And it's like, no. That is not necessarily what makes good music. We all know that good music comes from torture and pain, right? We know that as artists. Yeah. We don't like to face that part of it. And there's a whole generation of modern, young, mostly rappers who are seriously not facing that part of it. They show up. I have a studio here. You're looking at it. And they show up and they want to do a whole bunch of flow. This has always been the problem with rappers, right? And mostly a lot of musicians too. They just want to show up and do the fun part. And it's like, well, the hard work part is you have to reveal something personal about yourself in the performance somehow, whether it's the lyrics or the performance or the look on your face that you're ashamed to show everybody. But you have to do that part because that's the revelatory part that means something, right? And what do I mean by that? It's like, if I write a song about you've probably heard me say this before, but I've said it to all kinds of people. If I write a song about ice cream, right, the song won't have a whole lot of meaning. You know, I love ice cream. Well, why do you like ice cream? Because it's so damn sweet. Yeah. But if you write a song about ice cream with a little motivation behind you, like your house just burned down, or worse, right? Or much worse, something worse happened to you or someone you love. Now you can say you can write a cheesy ass line like the ice cream saved my life, right?
Yeah.
And that you can say it with conviction, right? The ice cream saved my life because you don't want to see what's over there, you know? Right. So like that is where music comes from. That's where passion comes from. That's where art comes from pain, right? And if you don't have the pain, don't be an artist because you're not welcome here. You know, and if you're trying to be an artist because you are a fan and you want to be part of the club, sorry, it's not meant for you. This is a darker place. And if you're trying to be in the dark, you're not ever going to get there, you know? Yeah. And so I think the reality is, you know, that's why that's the part that we all like to avoid, but that's the part that's important, you know? And that when you get into a studio and record your song, you know, it's great when you find a producer who's like pushing you and saying negative shit to you, and getting you in a place that you're uncomfortable with, or making you, you know, I want this whole next take of vocals. Don't open your teeth. I just want to see how that sounds. And you're like, I don't think that sounds good. And the producer's like, I don't give a fuck what you think.
Right.
You do what the fuck. I'm the one sitting behind the speakers listening to your ass. So try it. And if you don't like it, Lord forbid you feel something while you're trying to express yourself musically, you know? So like, that's the important part. That's music.
Yeah.
But that's the whole. I've never heard that talked about anywhere any ever. And it's like, why are you missing the point? The point because it's hard. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to think that's what music is. But that's the reality. It's ugly. And if it's not ugly, it's no good. You know. Damn. That's music. Yeah. That's what I think is success.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to write the song, first of all, that's like, even in your own dark place, to do it by yourself, that's success. And then to be able to convey it, that's another level. Like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. I think every single, all our favorite songs have complete torture. All our favorite art pieces definitely has, like, terrible, really bad history behind it. Yeah. That's interesting, man.
Well, it makes sense because, like, if you have if you've got the ice cream that we mentioned, and then you've got the dark side, the dark side is further away from the ice cream, right?
Yeah.
So this distance that's wider and wider and growing wider with the darker the dark, the worst thing that's happened to you in your life, the worst experience, that distance is the length of your perspective, the width of your perspective, right?
Right.
So the bigger your perspective, the bigger your ability to tell a story, the bigger your ability to perform well on stage. Derek, I've seen you perform your ass off on stage. You must have a nasty past, dude. I have seen you. You are real. You know, I think that you have you might be a psychopath. I don't know. You scare the shit out of me because I know the reality of this. To perform like you do, dude, I don't know what terrible thing happened to you or what terrible thing you do on a regular basis, but your performance is amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And everyone knows. Everyone sees the same thing. But you freaking open up your soul and open your mouth as wide as you can when you sing. You freaking pour your... Dude, you do it right.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
I got to ask you, do you have a delightful past or is it some darkness in there? Like,
oh, man, no. I wish that... I'm so glad you brought this up. I wish I did have a much easier... Don't get me wrong. Our parents are great. We're brothers. Our parents are...
That's why I moved out because he's a psychopath. I'm like, fuck this. I used to use Derek as influence on my performances. When Derek left the band, my old band that we got dropped, we got signed together and whatever. When I used to go, before going on stage, like in Tennessee or Wisconsin, wherever the fuck we were playing, I would watch videos of Derek performing before I went on stage, just because it would help me perform better. It's fucked up, but I did it.
yeah.
It's like masturbating to my own brother. Fucking
Well,
Christ.
it's kind of interesting, though, because you know the motivation behind his performance better than most people.
But let's talk about you, man.
Yeah, fuck us, dude. We're like, I'm tired of... Hey, I want to know about Murv Douglas.
Yeah, so would you like to tell us a little bit about how where you grew up and how you decided to become a drummer? Like, how did that happen?
Well, as far as growing up, I'm from here.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I was born in Santa Monica. It's kind of rare.
Yeah.
Migrate. Where are you guys from?
We're from here. We're from
here.
Atwater, Silver Lake area, actually. Like when I was born, my first apartment was across the street from Griffith Park.
Yeah.
So like I literally, now I'm less than a mile away. I can't leave.
Wow. Yeah, it's a rare thing. Everyone sort of ends up here, especially in music. Everyone comes here to make a living at it. So, yeah, I was born in Santa Monica.
Awesome.
And just basically grew up in the valley. I'm still in the valley. You know? So nothing's really changed on that end. But it's, drums, you know, like probably everyone else, I had a toy instrument when I was 8, and I destroyed it. And so I plugged my parents for a real drum kit. They got me a little 3-piece kit and started taking drum lessons when I was 10. And I haven't stopped. I mean, just literally never put it down for more than a few weeks. I'm 52 now, so that's 42 years. Long time. A lot of drumsticks.
Yeah. Jesus, you cut down a forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, I mean, it's the same story with it. I mean, it's nothing unique. That's how a lot of my friends did it too. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, Beatles is before my time, but I saw Kiss.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, hey, check this out, man. Wow, that's great. And I went to a Kiss concert when I was 10. It just blew my mind, man. You know, it was hard to even, like, get my head around the whole thing. All the people screaming and the fire and the smoke, and it was rad.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it started. It's funny too. In my neighborhood where I grew up, there was a rental house a couple blocks over, and Earth, Wind, and Fire guys were renting that house. So I used to ride my bike down there, and I'd hear them jamming in the house.
Oh my
Sometimes
God.
out by the gardens, there'd be drum heads and drumsticks and stuff, and we'd always like just raid, you know, the broken instruments that they were putting out.
Oh my God, that's crazy. And that, like in LA, like in Santa Monica?
No, this is in the valley. This was in Encino.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I kind of like Encino. It's pretty nice down there.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
And it's funny, way before your time, there was two brothers named Tom and John Keane.
Uh-huh.
Keane. And they were called the Keane Brothers. And they had records out, and they actually had their own TV show for a while. And John was the drummer. So I used to go there, and he would show me how to play some stuff. I don't know what happened to those guys, man. He's doing music for big television shows, I heard.
Damn.
Anyway, that's how it kind of started out,
As well, I'm sure for Waldemar too. It's just like, and I was like 9 or 10 as well when I was like, whoa, like this is insane. Actually, well, for me it was like I heard Layla and like the intro to it, and I was like, what the hell is that? So it was more of a like an audio thing. I was like, what? And then I thought it was like a violin or something. But then I started looking at it, and same thing, like Guitar Center on West Hollywood. It was like the smell and like everything about it. I was like, this is insane. And yeah, it was definitely like a Wayne's World like moment. Like she will be mine, waiting outside.
Exactly.
Yeah. For me, it's more. I listened to Guns Appetite, and I was like, what the fuck? And before that, I played a little bit, but I didn't really care too much. And then I heard that sound, and I was like, this is me now. And after Guns, I was like, yeah. It was fucking just
Are you guys
magnetic.
close in age?
I am 6 years older than him.
Yeah.
He's the youngest of 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he stole my licks that
my
I stole
brother
from
and-
you.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
You see, that's where the licks went.
I see.
So just look at his next album, and you'll see.
Like I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, what the hell?
That's funny. Because my brother and I are only a year and a half apart, and we both kind of got into music at the same time, and we were super competitive. So there was no, it was like, there were no 2 guitar players. There was only going to be 1 guitar player. And he wasn't allowed to play guitar because that was my thing. So it's kind of cool when I see brothers who are both guitar players. I'm like, man, it would have been cool if my brother and I had been more like, yeah, you play guitar and I'll play guitar. That'd be so cool. But we were too competitive. So that's
wow.
funny.
Yeah, like it was really good for him. Like when we played in the band together, it was like the best thing ever. But I don't know if you've ever seen Derek live. It's fucking insane. Like his style is like bombastic on a guitar. So
Yeah.
I had to like learn how to be not cool and more crazy when I was on stage with him. Just like flipping my hair. My hair is like super long. Like before I was like, yeah, I just want to be Slash and chill. But with Derek going crazy, it's like Angus Young on crack. Then I fucking had to go on crack. Yeah, so it's like it's a little bit crazy. And then when he left the band, I just started like watching his videos to like pump me up. Like to get a better stage presence.
Stop.
Nice.
I think that's how he was
Send me some
competitive.
links or something, guys. I want to see.
Yeah, we'll send.
Sure, yeah. I have a video coming out, like a new song coming out. Well, I'll send you that later.
Yeah, but you gotta
Please,
see the live
that'd be
stuff.
great.
But yeah, man. So that's how you started playing guitar, and then like how did you get to the place you are? Like how did you get to your first like official gig or whatever? Or your big
what
break, as
happened
they say.
Yeah, well, how I first started playing was there was a music producer. This is a long time ago, before the boy bands got really big, but there was still a lot of like, it got real popular to put together kid bands. And there was a guy who was a big writer and producer. I don't remember his name, but he wanted to put a band together around his daughter, who was a singer. And he sort of went around the schools in LA trying to find kids to put a band together with. And so the school called me and said, come and audition. And I'd only been playing for about, not even a year. And I just went in and I played, and they hired me. They brought me in for the gig. And so all of a sudden we're going to these fancy rehearsal rooms in Beverly Hills, and we're putting together a whole act for a big showcase, and it's a whole thing. And there's a 16-year-old guitar player who could play Eruption, and then there was a girl guitar player, and then there was me, and we had a keyboard
Maybe we
player
can
and
get
a
a
drummer.
Dave Darling solo record.
Oh man.
Oh,
That'd be
Dude.
well,
awesome.
no, I did a Boxing Gandhi's record with the old band last year.
Last
Yeah,
year we
I know.
heard it.
We just did an episode. I don't know if it was with Rodger Carter, but we did our top 5 for the summer, and my top 5 included Yellow Scooter.
Oh, come on, is that a
Dude.
badass thing?
That's
Dude, it's
so
a badass
sick.
tune, and your voice is a motherfucking killer.
Yeah,
I just gotta say it, like, dude, I need a solo album from you. Like, if I can just
Come on,
get
dude.
one more Yellow Scooter, maybe red or blue, or I don't
And
care
I
what
want you to
color.
remember, I'm an aged record producer, and I can still make a motherfucking record. No, listen, that was like, if there's a reason, even before like the pandemic and stuff, I'll just give you the quick skinny on that record because it was a trip. I'm not gonna lie, okay? My band was actually pretty successful 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And those guys are like, they're all my brothers still, but we could not be a band anymore. It just got to the point to where I was just so high and angry, and everybody, and there's publishing money, and people started throwing money at us and stuff. And the whole thing just disintegrated. But I loved that band, but it could not continue. But it was also a band that actually had a social conscience, right?
Yeah.
We all believed in the same thing, you know? And it was weird. Last year, I hate to say it, but fuck, it was March of 2019. That's how long this has been going on. I started looking at these kids they were putting in cages, and I was just going, wait. I got a daughter, man. What are you talking about?
Right.
So do you.
Yeah.
You got a son. You got kids. You are a kid. And I'm thinking, wait, I can't believe that every person I know, regardless of how you vote, is not going, no, man.
Right.
That crying child behind fucking chicken wire fence with no mom and dad, no motherfucker. That does not happen. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like, that started happening, and I just kind of like, I was like you, Waldo. I was like, at night, I was shaking.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and I hadn't written anything except for records that I produced. So depending on sort of the artist that I'm working with, right?
Right.
But it's just like, I had to write for myself just because I was so frustrated. It blew my mind. It blew my mind in such a huge way. And I started writing these tunes, and the form that I write for myself is obviously this kind of old soul funk thing, just because it's where I come from.
Yeah.
But you know, I wrote actually a song called "Disappear" and "Yellow Scooter," both to start.
First 2 songs.
And first 2 songs. And I just said, you know, and Brie, who was Boxing Gandhi's as well, she said, we got to just, you know, we got to call the guys and make a record with this shit. So I actually called up all the guys and of the original band, because we went through a couple of kind of morphs, right? And I sent some stuff out to the guys, Ernie Perez, who sang "Disappear." I said, and you know, and Ernie's like a, you know, he's a Chicano activist now and a preacher. That's what he does. He's a, you know, he lives for everybody else now. He's not into rock, but the motherfucker sings like a beast, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
So
voice.
I sent him that song "Disappear," and I said, dude, this is where this is at. And I didn't finish it. Here, I wrote it up and I stopped because I was sitting there with a pen. I'm not lying, boys. I was like, they're like this, and I just went, I gotta stop because I gotta send it to him, and he's got to put his voice into it, right?
Right.
So I sent it off to him, and he finished it. And I called all the rest of the originals, and I told them what was up. And we did the record, and we 100% of all the profits of the record sold a lot too. Went to the ACLU because they were fighting for immigrant rights and making sure that 6-year-olds had lawyers. Can you believe I'm saying that right now?
Oh God.
6-year-olds had lawyers. Okay. Jeez. So we did that, but it ended up being like sort of such a, I think probably I'm going to die, and it's going to be one of the high points of my life, just because when you get a second chance at something that sort of flew apart, that was a beautiful thing, but it just couldn't live.
Yeah.
And when you get a chance to use, like, for me, the best instrument I've ever had in my hands or at my disposal is that band. Not a guitar, not a piano, not a writing session. Those people make singing and playing my music is as good as it ever gets and will ever get for me. So we did this record, and it was like, it ended up being so tripped out because we sat here in this studio, actually. We just did it here.
Wow.
And you know, the 5 of us got together, and just like, after the first 3 songs were written, we just sat and we we wrote songs, and we sort of like, it wasn't like saying, hey, you know what we need to write about? It was like somebody come in and just say, hey, listen, I'm feeling this right here. And they'd start playing, and we'd say, we're your boys. And we'd jump on it, and we did the whole record that way. 5 weeks, I'm immensely proud of the record just because it's what a record should be. Do I care if people buy it? No, motherfucker, I don't. Do I care if people like it? No, I don't. Yeah. It's the most pure expression of art for us. And, you know, one of the five, our original five Gandhis is Alfredo Ballesteros, the sax player. And Alfredo came in here on a Tuesday to finish his sax parts and sing his first lead vocal he'd ever done with our band. He's a great singer. He's the guy who sings all the high falsetto parts, like Eddie came from the Temptations, right? Yeah. But I said, hey, listen, dude, you should sing this song. And you know, he sang it, and it was like a beautiful thing. But so for me, it's like, I'm not going to forget it. It was like, it's beautiful. It's everything I wanted to do. It's a great band too. I mean, you know, all by itself, those motherfuckers. Plus, we had so many people in our band, players, 5 drummers. I mean, we had all kinds of people come and go through the time we were there. Paul Bushnell, Davey Farragher, all these people that have gone on to do very, very well.
Yeah.
Wow. That was the last Foxy Gandhi's record.
But love the record. Like, the record is great. It's one of those records that when you listen to it, even no matter how many times you listen to it, it feels like new.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, thanks. Yeah! All right, so anyway.
Number 4, and this is for both of you guys. What is your favorite lick or playing technique that has helped you playing? Or it can be musical, like, or we talked about vocals too. It can be vocals and any of your instruments that you guys do.
Favorite lick or technique?
Yeah.
To help your playing.
Good question. Yeah, not pushing itself too much. Not in a practice sense, but if you're singing, for instance, don't always go flat out. Just pull back a bit, and open up your dynamic range a bit more. Because if you're always like pushing on the edge, you haven't got anywhere to go if the song needs it, and then you end up just like blowing your voice or blowing your arm up on the guitar. And like with bass, isn't it? You know, keep it simple and then a flashy bit. Yeah, and I guess in regards to a technique or a lick or a warm up for the bass, it's using all the fingers. Is get so many people using just the 1 or 2 fingers, but just stretching the fingers, and so keeping it simple, keeping it rocking, keeping it focused and on the point. I think definitely.
And are you a finger guy or a pick guy, Dan?
Oh yeah, it's funny really because I was a finger guy at the start.
Fucking Jace. All right.
I know. That's another story, but no. But yeah, I'm a pick guy now mainly. 95% of the songs I play in the band are with the pick, the plectrum, and some songs I might just sort of play a bit of fingerstyle for a bit, just because that's the way it should sound. That's the way it needs for that part of the song. Or another song might need not that so much of attack that you get with the pick. So then I'll play finger. So it's all about, for me, what the song is and what you're trying to get across and the emotion of it. And I love playing with a pick though, because you get that attack, don't you? You get that aggressive sort of bite to the sound. And but no, I do love a pick. But I'm open to all sort of techniques. Really, bit of slap maybe.
Yeah,
not too.
Do you have any influences related to the bass? Influences? Any influences related to the bass, like specifically, or?
I mean, Jace mentioned the band earlier, Wishbone Ash. There's a guy called Martin Turner. He uses a pick and very melodic bass player. But yeah, I mean, he was one of my main idols, really. Just a mixture of bass players, really. I couldn't really name one. I kind of like to pick the best bits from each, and of what bits I like to hear and kind of get inspired by that. I mean, Martin Turner is probably my main inspiration, really.
Cool.
Damn.
Well, look him up. I gotta look that up. I gotta look that band
Yeah.
up.
Wishbone Ash, yeah, definitely. It's
Wishbone Ash.
yeah, great band. Hardest working band. Yeah, they're still touring today. They've
The whole
been touring.
thing, I was like, fuck, this fucking great. The whole thing, because obviously you send over one thing and then everyone else adds. I'd never heard any of your vocals, any of your guitars or anything. So when I saw everything together, yeah.
All right, so Adam, I was wondering, like, how did you become Adam? How did Adam become Adam? Like, how did you become a drummer? And like, what's your story, man?
Well, my mummy and my daddy met one night, and they got.
I knew it. I was like, what?
I swear about this book, The Buttress of Windsor. No, I how did that's a wicked question. I never wanted to play drums. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was younger. I always wanted to be like I wanted to be a chef at first. I wanted to be a chef. Then I wanted to be a goalkeeper in football or soccer, football. And then I started, like, this is really fucking stupid because I started quite late on drums. I started when I was 14. I got my first kit. So I started playing like Guitar Hero and Rock Band when I was a kid. Oh. And I used to play it like religiously. I used to be like, I think I was number one on Chop Suey in the world on drums at one time.
Oh my god!
And, that should be on your resume.
I was crazy about it, and the whole rhythmic side of it with the drums and stuff. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. I wonder what a real drum kit would be like. So I think it all started at school when I started getting into, there was like rock band, funk band, jazz band, like all the different bands. And I was like, I'll try out for them. So I auditioned for rock band and played like fucking Back in Black or whatever. And then I joined funk band and did like Earth, Wind and Fire and Toto and stuff like that. So yeah, and then it just like grew and grew and grew. And I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this. Maybe I should just carry on with it. And then after school, when I was about 18, I went to university and studied audio production, I did that for 2 years. Got a degree in that, so I know how to do all of like the mixing shit, which is really helpful. But it was funny because when I was at uni, that's when I really discovered what I wanted to pursue in my career, because I was always on the other side of the glass. I was always playing drums on other people's projects. I wasn't actually recording anything. So I was like, oh, maybe I should be playing drums instead of recording people's music. So after that, I was in a band at uni, and then I joined a band called Dead, which is a UK rock band. They're not a band anymore, but that was my first kind of experience of touring. We went around Europe, we went around the UK loads of times and did the circuit there. And they were kind of like punky, emo kind of band. So I got my ropes there in touring. And then when we played, I think we played Download Festival in the UK with Dead. And I was already a fan of Raven Eye at the time. And I saw Raven Eye Download, and I was like, it's really cheesy. I was like, if I could be in any band at this point, I want to be in Raven Eye. And literally, I think it was like a year later, I got a phone call from Ollie, who was the singer. And he was like, hey man, because we met at Download and stuff. He was like, we don't have a drummer anymore. Do you know any good drummers, or did you know anyone that would like want to audition? I was like, yeah, I'll audition. I'm going to be a drummer. Like, no one else is going to be a drummer. And he was like, oh, yeah, you're already in a band. And I was like, fuck that. I don't fucking care. I want to be in your band. And he was like, okay, well, like, here's the music, learn it. And in like a week's time, come to the audition. So I went to the audition. There was like 5 other guys there, and I was the first one. And I was like, fuck. I was like, shit, I look like, set the bar. Did the audition, and they closed all the other auditions. They were like, yeah, you're the guy. So I was like, yeah, boy. Yeah,
What is the most memorable or crazy story from the road?
From the road.
You didn't have to be too crazy. You don't have to be too crazy. Some people don't want to say crazy things.
On tour with Rod Stewart, the 3 background singers, well, there were actually 4, but the 3 chicks, we did everything we could to just sort of avoid some of the shenanigans. We'll call them shenanigans that were going on. And I remember we kind of got talked into going to a party. We were in New York. We were hubbed in New York, and we were doing a bunch of big TV shows. But we were all in these great hotels in New York. And we went to a party at like, whatever, midnight or something, which is early in New York. And we walked in, and it was like one of those rooftop, penthouse. And it was like Sodom and Gomorrah, a freaking scene of like there was coke and sex and like the 3 of us walking in and just literally feeling like I'm afraid to even step 2 steps further into this room. And the 3 of us looked at each other and then we backed away. We shut the door and took a cab back to the hotel. Crazy because the level of shit going on in one hotel room or one penthouse was so, like, I had never. You've seen stuff happen on buses and backstage stuff, whatever. But this was like all in the same room. It was like every bizarre shit. It was like, oh, is that a monkey? What the hell?
God. No, that's so crazy to see in front of you. People, like you said, it's recreated in movies, but when you're there, it's like, this is not real, right? I haven't seen that shit. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've been to parties where there's specific rooms for that stuff, and I don't go in there because I don't think I can take it. Just like a glimpse, we like, fuck, just might need therapy or something. Can I go back?
Right.
Like weird.
There was that same tour. We ended up ending it at the Playboy Mansion at a birthday party for Howard Stern.
Oh yeah, he just posted that too on his Instagram page.
And same thing. It's like I was told by some of the bunnies, like, sweetie, do yourself a favor. There are 3 rooms down here. No one goes in those unless there's a certain purpose. And I don't think you'll have that purpose, so stay away.
Oh. Damn.
Of course, then you have to go find out what's in that room. I didn't, but...
Oh. Yeah.
God. Wow, she's nice.
There's some nice bunnies.
She was very sweet.
That's good.
Damn, that's so crazy.
Okay.
I didn't want to take off my headphones because that was a good story. But now I have to.
Yeah, that was hot.
Nah, it's so goddamn hot. I know this is like the clickbait part of it. You brought up the Sad Kroger, and you have that badass tune that you guys just released like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, you've been playing that song forever. That's like what people don't know, right? That you've been like forever, man. And then now they stole your song, so let's get on that. Call the lawyers. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, that's funny. My close group of bros know that.
Yeah.
But that's a close group of, let's say, 15, 20 bros, and, some ladies that know about that. But when you're talking about the Nickelback fan base, they don't give it. They haven't. It's not irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's even irrelevant that they don't even know there's a guest on it. It's just, to them, it's just Nickelback.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. There's this, so I think it's actually due time. I've been playing it for a long time. That's right. But I'll say this. Originally, the whole thought was to have him sing it.
Oh.
And that was originally the whole plan. And the plan was to have him guest on our album,
Right.
which was released through Magna Carta in New York, and have him as a guest on our album to help bring attention to our group.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that's the angle that we went from. So when I was working the song, I know a lot of their tunes are in drop C. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to write this song. We're going to do it in drop C because that's what they're used to. And I'm going to get this type of riffs because that's what they're used to. And I kind of thought about as much as I could to make it, to nickelify it or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
So it will be comfortable in that area. And we got it done, and I kept pushing and contacting Nickelback's record company called Roadrunner at the time. And we were getting close, but just never happened. It never was able to be released on Magna Carta. It ended, damn, done. So I'm like, all right. So I thought maybe I can get someone else to sing on it. So I thought maybe Devin Townsend, because he's great. I really like him.
Yeah.
And then I thought of maybe the guy from Big Wreck, Ian Thornley, a few other people. But you know what? I just said, I'm going to shelf it. I'm going to just shelf it. It's no urgency. It is what it is, and that's it. Right. And, years passed, and then finally I get a message saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking of putting this out. Are you interested? I'm like, yep. So I actually had to go back to Chad's studio. He asked me to retrack all of the rhythm guitars because they wanted me to use a Nickelback rig so it had the Nickelback guitar sound.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, yeah, man, no problem. So I went over there and did that. Met an awesome engineer who lives in LA. His name's Chris Baseford. He's done Motley Crue and Rob Zombie and different stuff. Amazing engineer. Who I'm actually taking lessons with now, engineering lessons, because I want to get my engineering chops so it sounds like that huge.
Yeah.
There's this, I can get my stuff sounding big, but I wanted to go like.
Yeah.
So, and then we did that, and then I guess I got a message from Chad saying, hey, we're going to release it as a new single for our summer tour. This was around in, I don't know, February or March. I'm like, it'll be called Nickelback featuring Dave Martone. Are you in? We'll pay you X amount, a one-time fee. And also, how many shows can we get you out on to play? And I'm like, all of them.
Yeah. Come on.
Oh. And so I'm like, great. Okay. And so they were getting ready to release it for the summer tour. And then, as you know, March 15th, 16th happened. And there it was. And then that's the last. I'm like, it just seemed like it was cursed.
Yeah.
The amount of time that this song has almost seen the light of day, and then no.
Oh.
And then nope. It's happened at least 4 times. And then this last one, I'm like, okay, it's finally happening. It's gonna happen. And then fucking the whole world ends.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell is fucking with me this much, man? Seriously, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. It's just the point. I'm like, yep, there you go. Yeah. Not supposed to happen. And then I got a message from Daniel. He sent me a text, the drummer in Nickelback. He goes, dude, it's coming out in 2 days. I'm like, what? What? He's like, yeah, I didn't even know. No one knows. No one knows nothing. And bam, there it was released, like second or third week of August. And then they made some video, which looks pretty cool. I like reading the comments. People go, hey, Johnny looks like a heroin addict, and all these kind of things. It was exciting. It was really exciting to I got in my car. The first thing I put it on Spotify, bam, the track comes up within 5 minutes on Spotify. I'm like, it was really nice to hear my shit on the radio, on Spotify, being talked about in all the magazines across the world. Yeah. And it was a bittersweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it would have happened a while ago. I don't know if it was different or not, but still, I guess I'll come back to the point is persistence pays off, but at a certain point, I just kind of gave up too, right? Yeah. And something else I'll share is some of my friends go, well, did you negotiate it? Did you try for this and that? And I'm like, hell no. And the reason I'll say this is I've learned a lot of things, and I'm sure you have as well too.
Yeah.
Being in the business, when you're newer and not sure, you will say things that might not, you think you deserve this and you think you deserve that. And it could be validated, but in the end, it just destroys itself. And ends up happening is it just ends. Something ends, that's the end. So these days, I take the path of least resistance. But I'm not gonna have the coals pulled over, or excuse the expression, raped or whatever. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
There's just, there's etiquette, and then there's total annihilation and disrespect. I understand the difference between both. So if it's a good offer, also, yep, great, that's it, done. And the people are like, oh, great, perfect, let's move forward. Because there's no bullshit. It's just, let's get, and they go, wow, that guy was easy to work with. Cool, let's move on. Yeah. As opposed to, oh, he wanted this, he wanted that, and then there's this, we got a contact, then the guy's like, fuck him, move on, or something like that. So these things happen. They're a quick little, that's that quick. So if I would have started to, negotiate this, they could have said, yeah, you forget it. You know what I mean? So I spoke to a couple important people in the industry, and they said, dude, accept whatever it is, move forward, and it's going to be great. And you know what? Best advice ever. So I'll share that with certain people as well.
Wow.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, that's like, and you don't know, like, after this pandemic, maybe you guys go back on tour. Maybe they'll, like, the devil goes down around the world, like, tour.
The devil went down to every city in America.
The planet. And it's because you're easy to work with, you're cool.
And, like, Mellotron,
Yeah.
Damn, man. So how did you, is this the second EP from your band? The split second?
No, it's
Method?
it's first. It's the first one, and I was working on it for kind of a few years. I wrote a bunch of songs, and I was just kind of looking for the right sound, which is to a guitar rock band, but with keyboards in there, like I'm into like electronica too, but there isn't much of that there. But so it was kind of a few years in the making, and then this slowdown, this global, slowdown, kind of made it
end of the world, kind of.
Yeah, a bit more urgent. I was like, now I can, now I can come out with something and start my, solo journey,
And are you singing? Is that your voice on there? Yeah, it's fucking great, man. It's just like you can. Thanks. I love, like, you have a lot of range in your voice, like different. It's almost like it goes from song to song. Like I was amazed from every fucking song. And like one of my favorite songs is the last one, which is The End of Your World, right?
Yes.
That one is fucking. It's so beautiful, man. That fucking song is just great. And the thing is, it's to me, it's like the perfect title too, to like the pandemic. Like it's fucking.
Yeah. It's sort of it was kind of like a bit of a somber song. But thank you. Yeah. That was kicking around for a while, and then I just got it together. Music comes first when I write. I think I'm good at writing music, and lyrics are that's kind of difficult for me. But recently I've felt like I've had a lot to say. Where earlier, past years in my life, I just wanted to jam, and I didn't really have anything to actually say. So I finally got to that point.
Wow. Yeah, man. And
number four. What is your favorite lick or technique that has helped your playing?
Well, back in 1974, I went to see Billy Gibbons play at the opening for Alice Cooper in Buffalo, New York in 1974. And he did a thing where he was playing. And no one had ever seen that. touched the string to a fret with his right hand. We looked at each other like, oh, did you see that? That was before this became every guitar player's go-to technique. So I went home and I, look, it works. Not only that, when you take it off, you get another note. So that basically became the beginning of me doing all the all that nonsense that I do. So that was a pretty important one. And then I also have later on in 1978, Van Halen came out, and I was, of course, crushed because I thought I might be the only guy doing this. But in fact, Eddie deserves all the credit, not only for popularizing it, but he was amazing at it, and he did it in ways that I hadn't even thought of yet. So I always have to give him credit. But I always gave Billy Gibbons credit for its origination. So one time, I'm in a studio, and I went to visit Lita Ford. She's a dear friend of mine in L.A. And so I went down there, and I didn't know, but as a surprise, Billy Gibbons was there. So I walked in and go, holy cow, unbelievable, Billy Gibbons. So Lita had to record, so me and Billy sat there and just shot the breeze for a while, talking about all kinds of stuff. He's a walking encyclopedia. He knows everything about every band and every guitar and every amp and every car. He's just brilliant and a wonderful, sweet guy. And so we talked for hours, and it was time to go. And I said, thanks so much. Here, I'll even get it off the wall to show you. Give me 1 second.
Yes. Oh, I can't believe Billy just performed right now.
So he goes to me. He says, hold on a second. I got something for you. And I go, what? And he reaches in his bag, and he pulls out this framed and signed to me. And I was like, wow, what? I'm so surprised. I had no idea. Like, I didn't even know he knew who I was, And he goes to me, because in every interview I always said, you must have gotten the hammer-ons from Ed Van Halen. I go, no, it was Billy Gibbons. Ed Van Halen? No, it was Billy Gibbons. Where'd you get hammer-ons from? I got it from Billy Gibbons. Billy Gibbons, Billy Gibbons. I say that all the time. So sure enough, he gave this to me, and he says, I read what you've been saying about me in the interviews. And he goes, keep it up.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
Damn, he had it ready for you.
What if he didn't know you were coming and he just carries it all the time?
Yeah. He just like one day he'll bump into you.
He's and he actually ended up playing on one of my solo records, on the Holy Cow record, and he came in. He had a Fender Telecaster with him, but he might have grabbed the wrong one because it was strung a little heavy for him. So I had a $100 Chinese Strat somebody gave me as a joke gift. And I tuned the strings down 5 frets to low B. So the strings were flopping around on there. And I said, well, the only other guitar I have like that is, give this a try. And he goes, okay, I'll do it with this. So through my Line 6 pod on a $100 Strat with floppy strings, he played the track. And it came out great. And I played for my friends before they knew it. I go, guess who the guitar player is? And instantly they go, Billy Gibbons? You can instantly tell that it's him.
Oh, damn. Yeah, it's in his hands, 100%.
Yeah, there's like that thing that they say if Steve Vai and Van Halen switch amps, there's still Steve Vai and Van Halen.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I think Ted Nugent and Ed Van Halen did switch amps one time, and that actually happened. And Ted sounded like Ted, and Ed sounded like Ed.
Yeah, Derek went on tour with Ted for a while.
Oh, yes, I opened up for Ted and Steve as well. I was just so great. They invited me. They saw some YouTube video and they're like, "You come on!" And I was like, "Oh, thank you." That's how cool those guys are. Like yourself, you're just like, you're doing this right now. It's like you don't have to, but you're like,
my pleasure, my pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the most enjoyable interviews I've done in many months. So thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want it to be like fun and inspirational. And like when we leave, for sure, we're going to practice for the next 20 years of our life because of you. Just you playing the bass for 2 seconds.
I can't believe
I'm going to try to tab it out. And then we'll see what happens. And I'm a guitar player. I need to figure this out.
Yep.
Wow. Not a lot of people believe this, but because, the reason I started playing drums was when I was 10 years old. we got cable television in this house my parents bought, and we got MTV, and it was the first time I saw MTV. And then that's when I saw, yes, everyone's favorite band, Poison, playing the song "Talk Dirty to Me," and the drummer Ricky Rocket looked like he was having a blast, and I said, I want to play drums. So Ricky Rocket of the band Poison is the reason why I play drums. And a lot of people do not believe that, because I guess my career is a little bit different than what Ricky Rocket's is. But it's totally true. Yeah, I had posters of Ricky, and then I saw like Motley Crue, and it was basically, this is 1986. And so at that time, MTV, the programming on MTV was what they call like hair metal, which I hate that term, but it's basically like 80s hard rock metal and new wave synth wave, like Aha, Flock of Seagulls, all that kind of stuff. And so you really only had those two type of genres that MTV was just constant rotation. And so that's what I grew up with. Right. And that's what had such a profound impact when I was 10 years old, 11 years old. I'd watch Poison and Motley Crue and Brad and Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and all these bands, and playing these massive arenas and everything. I just went, man, this looks so amazing. And so it inspired me to pick up a pair of drumsticks and a practice pad and start taking some lessons. And after about a year of school band, I realized I didn't really learn a whole lot. And so I asked my mom if I could, actually sign up for private lessons, because I enjoyed it, but I knew I wasn't really progressing to the degree that I was wanting to. And so I just had super supportive parents. I was really blessed to have parents that were beyond the pale of supportive. I mean, they just went above and beyond. And so signed up for private lessons. And then through that was kind of my first introduction to like formal music education, right? Those one-on-one lessons. And I can't tell you how much I loved it. I mean, it was everything I wanted it to be. It's like, I was in sports and stuff like that, but...
The question was like, what was your first big break? Was that getting that sign?
I'm sorry. I would say, so basically we were doing that, but that was just part of the growing up. It's like, any bands that plays ended up in opening up for somebody. I mean, those are experiences. I think my really main significant break was with Steve Vai in 1996. I ended up recording with Steve. Steve has always been believe it or not, an idol of mine. And now we're like very, very good friends. I consider him like my older brother. He helped me so much on a bunch of different things beyond music. It's like my mentor on a lot of levels. It's just that back then when I lived for about 5 years in New York, right? Mm-hmm. And I had a band there. Actually, I was playing with two bands. Those were the post 80s, so everything was like super blah 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 blah. Swaggy and flash and all that kind of stuff, right? But I don't know to explain it. We're coming from that world that I've always been, like I said, very attached to black music and a different kind of playing. That was not really what I was actually doing at the moment. And when I came out to Los Angeles, I ended up almost immediately hooking up with Nina Hagen, who's a German punk icon. And I started playing with them. I was running a Thursday night club between La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard. It was the only club that was playing actually rock music from 70s, 80s, 90s, but with tendency of the heavy stuff. And that was not the scene back then, because grunge took over and Los Angeles was just completely all over the place. And I met a bunch of different people, and I wanted to, obviously to do more stuff with the instruments and all of that. And even though I was meeting musicians and nobody really knew me and stuff, and I guess, again, coming from the 80s where everybody was just a super monster player, people would look at you like, oh, but can you do this, can you do that, can you do that? And I think just after I started working with Steve, I just recorded several things with Steve, I think it gets the rumor got around, and back then if you work with Steve, that automatically would give you credibility, meaning, okay, well, this guy knows what he's doing. Not really, because I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a musician like Vi or my other bigger brother, Steve Lukather. I'm kind of like always fake my way around. But so far, nobody ever figured it out. So I was able to pull that shit off for a long time. But there's a lot of things, obviously, that I guess worked good for Steve in having me working with him. And I guess those are the kind of things that I ended up embracing as a base for all my work as productions as a musician. And, that's what's, I guess, I consider as my first break, the collaboration with Steve. Not even with Nina. And again, I'm not saying this to be disrespectful with Nina or anything, or my even previous band. It's just like, again, you sit down for 3 days in studio with Steve Vai, you leave, all of a sudden, people know who you are. I started to get endorsements, calls, people that I didn't even know who they were, just getting calls from like, hey, you like to play here? Hey, just, what bass instruments you play? What amps are you, that kind of stuff, So, more than actually what happens today, But I think that was definitely what kind of like, broke the ice.
I saw that you played a gig with OTEP recently.
Oh yeah, I play with OTEP now. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I heard that gig came through you through a YouTube video, something like that.
Well, I got bored when COVID first started because like I had a tour in Europe going with the band and everything, and then every COVID ruined everything. And I was like sitting around depressed like everybody else and bored. And the wife was like, "Why don't you do some covers?" So I did a body count one. That was my first one that I did, and it went really well. People were like all asking me questions stuff like that. So I did one more, and then I've always loved OTEP, so I did Ghost Flowers. And I wasn't thinking anything about it. I just liked the song. And she somehow heard it and saw it. And the bass player got a hold of me and they were like, hey, man, you want to do some more? And I did another one with like 3 songs in it, like another few days. And she was like, well, he did that in a few days. And so she was like, well, can you, she didn't think I could play a acoustic set for some reason because all she sees in the videos trying to drums. She said, well, can he play acoustic? Before I even talked to her, I was talking to the bass player through all of this. And he said, well, she wants to know if you can play real drums. So I just set up my drums over at Nightingales in Burbank, the whole kit. And I just learned in like a week or so. I did like 10 songs and then just did all of them, recorded them, video and everything. And she was like, okay, you're in the band. So it's cool.
Wow.
Just like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's so freaking. That's like you created your own audition for that band. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn this song, and here you go.
It was purely out of love of the song. It started. I love Ghost Flowers. I love the song, so I just did the song. But the rest of it came out of just like oh shit, I better do all this, and I did. I went over the top as much as I could, and she was like, okay, cool. It was great, man. So worked out well, man.
Oh wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
It kind of reminds me. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's Rockstar with Marky Mark.
Oh,
yeah, that fucking movie. That movie is amazing. But it reminds me of that kind of story where it's like kind of like you got picked out of the crowd.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Dude, so you talked about like growing up, but how did you become you? Like, how did it all started? Even like as a baby, did you have a beard and long hair and started playing guitar and singing right away?
Well, this isn't a beard. This is actually drawn on. It's yeah. I don't know, man. I was. My parents were big music fans. I think a lot of musicians would say a very similar thing. And my dad was a massive fan of the Stones, and we used to listen to that all the time. And Queen and Zepp were kind of there from a really early age. And I remember he got me a guitar for my 10th birthday, and there was probably an element of that, which was my dad wanting to kind of relive his youth through me and getting me. And initially, I hated it because I just wanted to be outside playing football and hanging with my mates. And I went to like classical guitar lessons and couldn't do it for shit. I was like, oh my God, I don't like this at all. But then when I was about 12, 13, I got into Zepp and classic rock. And one of the family friends, a geezer called Andy, he gave me the Led Zeppelin box set that came out in the early 90s, the one with the sort of cornfield on it with the silhouette of the Zepp on it. And that just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, what is that? I remember listening to Heartbreaker, and it was like somebody had punched me in the face and just gone, this is what you need to be doing. Wow. So I spent most of my teenage years, I mean, in England at that time, like nobody gave a shit about Zepp. In the late 90s, it was all about bands like Oasis and Blur and that Britpop scene.
Yep.
And I was into classic rock, and I was like listening to Sabbath, and my friends were just like, what you talking about? Here's Definitely Maybe. Listen to Definitely Maybe. So it kind of all evolved from that point on. And then suddenly Zepp came back into fashion in the early 2000s.
One of them would have to be, I toured with a Dean Ween group, which is basically Ween but without Aaron.
Yeah.
But playing all Ween stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, it was Ween, you know. And Glenn, who's the keyboard player, plays in Blood, Sweat and Tears, and he had like a scheduling calendar conflict, so he couldn't go on this tour. And we toured for like three or 4 weeks or something. And I've been like a huge Ween fan since I was 15 years old. I mean, I literally know that band inside out. So I already know all this. I've never learned any of the songs, but they're all in my head, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd got in touch with their manager somehow when I was on tour with Dad, and we were touring the Wall, I think.
Yeah.
And I knew that we were going to be somewhere where one of them lives. I can't remember. So I somehow tracked down their manager and said, "Hey, I'm Harry. I'm the B3 player with Roger Waters. I want to invite the guys to come and see the Wall show." And I forget who. I think Dave came, who's the bass player. And but that's how I first made contact with them. And then when Ween came to England, every time they came, I would get in touch and get passes and go and like hang out with them. So that's how I met Mickey and became friends with him. And so he called me up out of the blue one day and said, "Hey man, we've got like 15 20 gigs or something, and Glenn's not available. Do you want to do it?"
Oh my God.
Like the best ever, you know. And he made me learn about 40 songs. I had about 2.5-3 weeks to prepare. It was like really soon. And I learned about 40 songs, and of those 40, we probably played about 18 of them. You know, like so he's like, "I'll just learn all of those. Like, you know. But so that period, playing with one of your all-time favorite bands was just I can't describe.
That's insane. And those 40 songs, they all, I bet they all sounded completely different than the last one.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I never told
you know their music.
I just recently found out that you played with them, and they're one of my favorite bands ever. I love the Chocolate and Cheese album. Like, got me into them.
That was the first record. I remember I was on holiday in Greece. I was 16, I think, and the stereo was playing, and I was just eating dinner, and Drifter in the Dark came on, and you know, and I went, "Oh my God!" And I loved it. So I was like, "What's this?" And then obviously it was CD, you know, at the time, so whatever it was, 30 years ago or something. And obviously the CD the cover is that amazingly gorgeous model.
Just cut right there.
It's just amazing. So I was like looking through that, and then I listened to that record like 100 times. And then that was it. That was my introduction to Ween, was Chocolate and Cheese.
That's insane, man. Harry Waters loves Ween. Yeah. Like, you're playing when I first met you, were like, "Oh yeah, I was just like learning some Mozart right now," and then like you love Ween. It's like crazy.
Yeah. But in fact, so I heard Chocolate and Cheese, but shortly after that, a friend of mine brought over the Brown album, you know, which is a sort of double like live album, and that was when I really went, "Oh my God, these guys are absolutely amazing!" Like the version on that record of "Can't Put My Finger on It," which is all that unbelievable like Arabic. You know, Aaron is doing all this amazing sort of singing, and there's a synth part, you know, and Claude's doing these amazing sort of, you know, just amazing. They're the greatest.
That's so sick. Yeah, that's funny. It's like that's my girlfriend's favorite song. And you know, when we saw them in Desert Days,
Can't Put My Finger on It.
Yeah, because she just loves the French accent. It's funny. Every song on that album is like it's almost like a nod to a different culture. There's like there's a Mexican one, like Buenos Dias, and like
Buenos Tardes, amigo.
Buenos Dias, and then French. There's a Voodoo Lady. I don't know. It's like everyone's just like it's just crazy. And they played Chocolate and Cheese top to bottom on that thing. And
It's amazing.
Oh man, dude, I gotta
When we would play "Let Me Lick Your Pussy," which would come out sometimes in the encore, you know, if people are really drunk.
Yeah.
Chicks would just get up on the stage every night, and, like, take their trousers down and like dance around, you know, naked and like butts up in the air. They go nuts for that song. It's got some power over women.
That's so crazy.
It's just so funny. And Mickey would get on drums and Claude would play guitar.
Oh wow.
They would switch for that number, just for fun.
Fuck, I think you guys have to do a Ween cover.
Oh, dude, I would love to.
Definitely.
I would love to. Any song. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that interview with, like, they're all like, it's like 1968. They're all like on a panel and they're like, they asked like John, like, hey John, like, is Ringo the best drummer in the world? And then like John Lennon's like, Ringo's not even the best drummer in the band.
No, so mean.
He's so mean. But Ringo's a genius. He's like a really good drummer, but it's just funny. He's pick on him.
Yeah.
No, if you want to like talk about that, like, so when I was younger, I was all about John Bonham, right?
Oh,
John
right.
Bonham, come on. He is the greatest rock and roll drummer ever. And I loved Mitch Mitchell too. And I mean, and so then you go to like listen to Ringo Starr and you're like, what's the big deal? You know, if you come from John Bonham and Mitch Mitchell, what's the big deal, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then I got a little more mature and I realized that the drum parts are so good, note for note, perfect in the Beatles, you know? And then you get even further along where I started recording for people and you realize that the Ringo Starr vocabulary, like his beats and drum fills, are like 85% of studio drumming. Like if you don't know his stuff, then you are useless in the studio.
Yeah.
His tones, his drum fills, you know, his parts, that's like the Bible of pop rock studio drumming. And then you sprinkle in a few other things, but really that's the majority. So I would say just listen to him if you're a drummer and you're like, I don't really get it. Just listen to him solely for the vocabulary that he just injected into pop music. It's what every drummer has to know, you know, all the fills.
Illinois. But I was gonna ask you, Brittany. So how did you learn? Some of those songs are so short notice, like two nights before, the night before. Sometimes, like learn the song. Right. What'd you do? How'd you learn the songs? Did you just run them, or did you kind of like get it once?
When I first moved here, I was like, it was before I had my studio, so I would go to amp rehearsal, or this is like a little weird random tip, which I guess you can't really do now, but like I always go to Guitar Center and just bring my own like extension cord thing and go to the electronic kit and just plug into their speaker, and I would just like sit there and like practice because I wanted to drum every day, but I didn't have a studio space at the time. And I didn't want to spend, you know, however much at amp. So I would just always go to Guitar Center. So sometimes I would just sit there, you know, because sometimes you wouldn't know your song, like you said, till a couple days before. So I would just, you know, jam it in a whole day and like really get my parts down. And then like, you know, as time goes on, like a couple of 2 years after or whatever, I would sometimes, if it was a song I already knew, at least with drums, with the guitar, I really wanted to like practice because I'm not as good at guitar, but with drums, I would just like listen to the song on the way there, like if I really didn't have a lot of time. But I guess it just kind of depends, and it depends on like the song, and like I know I played a couple AC/DC songs sometimes, and like I know those by heart, so you don't have to really worry about those ones as much. But other ones, but the thing about the jams too that always drove me nuts, which I love them because I've met so many people like you and everything through them, but it was so frustrating too when you do spend like hours like nailing your parts and making sure it's exactly like the recording and you have it down, and then someone shows up and they like have no clue what they're doing. I mean, I had a couple people, like I remember one time someone was like afterwards came up to me and apologized, like, oh sorry, like I just didn't learn the song, like I didn't, you know, I didn't go over it. And I'm like why are you here though? Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not just screwing yourself, like you're screwing other people. And at the time, you know, I wasn't playing with many people outside of the jam. So it was like my one night of the week to just like have fun and like go up there. And I was so jammed and stoked to get on stage. And then you get up there and when someone messes it up, and it's just like humiliating, and you were so excited. And so I found that happened quite a bit at the jams too, which was like, you know, kind of a bummer sometimes. But when you got up there with like people who really knew what they were doing, it was like, it's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Those relationships last a while. Like those, when you meet when you play one good song with like a dope ass person, you're like, all right,
it makes you sound good.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Number two.
What is the most memorable or crazy story from the road?
It could be memorable or crazy or both.
I'd say between 1988 and 1995.
That's actually a great answer.
That's pretty much, yeah. Wow, dude. Memorable moment. I mean, Jesus, where do I begin? I mean, there's not enough time. There's not enough brain cells left to
even remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit that's just gone.
Yeah.
But I'll stick to my first answer.
Yeah, that's perfect.
88 and 95. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in Scotti Hill's tour bus.
Yeah! That was badass.
Yeah, all those clips. Thank you to everyone who was on this show the last 21 episodes.
Hell yeah, 21 episodes.
Yeah, 21 episodes, because it's the 22nd episode.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this, guys. We love you all. You guys are awesome.
Yes, and if you like the content you're watching, please like and subscribe. We will, so we can get on the recommended pages on the right feeds to interview more brilliant musicians like these.
Yeah, and if you like the clips, just watch the full episodes. They're there.
There you go. They're all there.
So see you guys next year.
Okay, bye next year.
Bye.